Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about all of the 16 different weapons that got buffed yesterday. Now, I have played with these on stream, and I've played with these off of stream pretty extensively. I wanted to test a lot of these, like, to get a real good feel for them. In my opinion, some of the weapon buffs yesterday have been some of the best buffs yet, even better than some of the ones 2 weeks ago. So with that being said, I wanted to give my thoughts on all of them. Now, of course, for some of these, we are not going to be showing game footage, but for some of these we are going to be talking about them and showing some game footage. Stick around. I actually want to talk to you guys about the Smog. There's actually a way to optimize your damage when using that gun that I'm going to let you guys know about. There's a little trick with the amp that most people don't know about either. It is not just a Zane gun with a barrier like people are saying. It is good for every character. And not only that, there is something you guys definitely need to know about optimizing the damage. Now, with that being said, we're going to hop straight into it. Some of these names are a little bit cut off, but I'm going to name them as we go along. I have the list on the left ready to go. I got every single gun. And then on the right, we're going to rank them for you guys. Now, like I said, I'm not going to show gameplay footage for all of these. For some of these, I definitely will, because I do want to show some of them off, because some of them are pretty cool. Now, we're just going to start at the top of the list. We have the Monocle and the Headsplosion. I kind of want to talk about these at the same time. So here's the Headsplosion and here is the Monocle. Basically, these are the two snipers in the game that needed to be buffed, and both of these were buffed pretty adequately. I did all my testing on true Maliwan takedown, by the way, Mayhem 10. Usually I run to basically the Kraken, and then depending on what weapon it is, I'll kill the Kraken or not. Now, both of these snipers were adequately buffed for sure. Now, a lot of people are hyping up the Monocle. In my opinion, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. And one thing I should say real quick is 7.5 is a very, very good rating in my opinion. 10 out of 10 is like a Monarch, a Plague Bearer, a Backburner. So 7.5 is like a very strong weapon, but it's just not, you know, like God tier. And 7.5 is my baseline for good weapons. That's why we actually have it specifically listed. I give the Monocle a 7.5, and I put the Headsplosion up at an 8 out of 10. Now, the specific reason for that is because the Headsplosion gets Splash. The Headsplosion not only has a little bit higher damage on the weapon card, but it gets your splash bonuses. So class mod, artifact, skill trees, you know, if you're running a Blastmaster on Moe's, that's what you want to go with when it comes to the Headsplosion. Moe's sniping is definitely a thing, especially with short fuse. Even on flak, you're gonna do more damage with the Headsplosion, I promise. And yeah, next we have the Storm and the Firestorm. Now, keep in mind that the Firestorm actually is a bit bugged right now, so we're not going to be rating it. I believe it just did not get buffed, or the buff is canceling after the first save quit. But we actually have the Storm right here, and I put it up at an 8 out of 10. Now, for what this sniper does it so well. It shoots shock shots and then does a ton. It like rains down just like a storm. Now, I might be a little bit biased because I love this weapon, but I think it is very good at what it does. It's not very ammo hungry, so you can spam it just fine. You can get a lot of good use out of this weapon. You can start with the Storm and then swap to a fire weapon that we're going to be talking about later if you want to as well. Some of the weapons on this list really surprised me. Next, we're moving on to the ASMD. Now, the ASMD is a sniper that shoots an orb. Then you basically have to snipe the orb, and then it goes out in an explosion. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't like the sniper. I rate it at a 6 out of 10, and that is mainly because I don't think it's a very fun sniper to play with. You literally have to shoot with it twice to do one instance of damage. Now, it does create an explosion, and if you stack a bit of overkill, you can actually do some pretty cool things with the sniper, but it's just not my cup of tea. So once again, I might be a little bit biased, but that's where I put it. Next, we are going to move on to the Lyuda. Now, the Lyuda, I am actually going to drop right at 7 out of 10. Now, the damage on it is pretty decent. I think they did adequately buff it, actually. What they really did to it was they increased that reload speed. So pick up a Lyuda and just shoot it and reload constantly and just see how many clips you can run through as fast as you can. It's actually pretty fun to do, but I don't rate it as high. I think it's, you know, very, very ammo hungry. It's pretty niche. You're only going to use it against like Grave Ward or Wotan's top half or something like that. But they did buff it pretty decently, and it actually shoots and reloads pretty nicely. Next, we have the Auto Aim. Now, the Auto Aim is a sniper from DLC 1. Don't worry, we are not rating this a 9. We're actually going to go ahead and put this down at 5. The Auto Aim, for what it does, it is extremely ammo hungry, and it doesn't do enough damage in my opinion. I almost started to run out of damage by just killing the turret guys before the Maliwan takedown, and then I think I killed like 2 or 3 guys right inside the Maliwan takedown, and I was out of ammo. So, and I had an optimized setup. My testing is done on Zane, but I can tell when some of these weapons are going to be better on other characters rather than Zane as well. And I just don't dig it. Next, we are going to move on to the Recursion. Now, you all know the Recursion. It used to be a 10 out of 10, but where does this buff leave it? In my opinion, it is a hot pile of garbage. You should toss it off a cliff. I'm just kidding. Unless you're using Ties That Bind or Flak, you're not going to really get much use out of this Recursion. Now, with that being said, that's not really saying much about this gun. Ties That Bind is pretty broken with any gun in the game. You can literally use some white pistols with the 300 anoint, and you can do stupid things with Ties That Bind. So that's not saying much in my opinion. Flak, on the other hand, has a pretty strong damage formula, and he can actually get some use out of this weapon. I'm going to put it down at a 6. Because unless you are in the right circumstances, like Flak can probably push it up to about a 7.5. Ties That Bind can push it up to a 10, but that's only because it's Ties That Bind. I'm going to put it down at a 6. In my opinion, it's not that great. They did try to buff it. I think maybe I should have been using a ×2 version as well. So maybe we can, put it up at a nice 7 for you guys. But Next, we're going to be moving on to the Star Helix. Now, the Star Helix is a very awesome dull assault rifle that is a fan favorite. This shoots 3 projectiles that you kind of have to line up perfectly to do some good damage with it. I actually rate this a 7.5 out of 10. Now, let me explain how I feel about this gun. This gun feels just like it used to be on old Mayhem 4. If you guys go back to a very old video of mine, they buffed this gun for Mayhem 4, and it feels very similar to when they buffed it on Mayhem 4. Now they buffed it for Mayhem 10, and I swear it feels exactly the same. With that being said, though, it's not anything crazy. Like I said earlier in the video, 7.5 is a very good rating for me. 7.5 out of 10 is strong average. You can get through something like the Maliwan takedown with this. And like I said, I test on true takedown mode, Mayhem 10. I quite enjoy the Star Helix. I think it's a pretty cool gun, and I think they adequately buffed it. For it being a base game, just normal dull assault rifle with no special gimmicks, no mobbing potential, anything like that, you can definitely get some kills with this thing, and I recommend trying it out. Next, we are going to talk about the Ogre. Now, this is, our good old Shrek Easter egg. You can barely see the letters of the Ogre there, but we're going to be talking about the Ogre. I actually rate this an 8 out of 10. I could do some pretty good things with this on Zane. Now, this is not a Zane weapon. This is actually a Flak and a Mose weapon. Mainly Mose because of how good this is with MOD, but this is also a Flak gun. So if you're playing Flak, definitely give this gun a try. I could shred some enemies with this thing on Zane, and it felt pretty damn decent to use, if you ask me. I truly enjoyed this weapon. I think you guys should definitely give it a try. I think it's a little bit better than the Star Helix, especially if you're on Mose or Flak. You're going to be able to push this thing a lot further. Next on the list, we are moving to the Sawbar. Now, this is one that I am definitely going to be giving you guys footage of. The power level of this gun is pretty strong. Now, I'm rating this an 8, and that's because the gimmick of this. For the Sawbar to work, you have to be a certain distance away, which can make it a little bit awkward to use, but when you're in that sweet spot, you can do some really, really strong damage with this. Of course, this is a Mose weapon because those projectiles are explosives. I was getting some insane damage on Zane with this. There's some clips playing in the background because I actually love this weapon now. I actually think you guys should also try this on Flak and Amara. Flak, number 1, amazing damage formula, so he's going to push this to the extreme. Amara, I think, is very strong. The Sawbar is locked to fire, so being able to add her action skill element Shock and being able to have access to bonus elemental ASEs, I think you're going to be able to spread out that fire damage to some other elements, and you're going to be able to get some good damage with this thing. In terms of pure power level, I think I would maybe put this at a 9, maybe an 8.5 is more fair, but we're going to leave it down at 8 because, like I said, it is a kind of distance weapon. It can be a little bit awkward. Next, we are moving on to the Damned. Now, the Damned is another assault rifle that got buffed. It is a Vladoff assault rifle. Now, this thing doesn't have any crazy gimmicks. It just has a shield, kind of like a Hyperion weapon. I'm going to put this down here at 6. While this thing could do some okay damage, it wasn't anything special. I ran out of ammo before I got to the Kraken. which isn't really a good sign in my opinion. It is an ammo guzzler, and for as much ammo as it spends, it doesn't do enough damage. Now, I'm not even saying this should get buffed again. You know, it's just a base game assault rifle. I think it's fine where it's at. Maybe for those of you who love this weapon, you want to see it buffed more. But for me, it's just a pretty basic assault rifle. We're just going to leave it down here at 6. Next, we are moving on to the Smog. Now, the Smog is going to be the first weapon we put at number 9. I actually think it's closer to 8.5, but I don't have an option for 8.5, so we'll actually leave it up here at 9. We'll give it its own slot. The Smog, I want to talk about the Smog for a second. There's a couple things you guys need to know about. Number 1, optimizing the damage, and number 2, this is good on any character. Now, the Smog's ability is when you are aiming down your sights, it projects a forward-facing shield. This shield, if it is full capacity, will give you 250% amp damage. Now, there is a caveat there. It is not actually amp damage, which I'll explain in a second. Now, the second gimmick of this thing is whenever you get a kill, that front-facing shield will fill up. So a lot of people in the community are saying that this is a Zane gun or a Gamma Flak gun because they can keep that shield capacity full, but that's just not true. Every single time you get a kill with this gun, you're going to have that full capacity. So you should be using this on a Mara. You should use it, I mean, I don't know if it's a Mo's gun, it's not Splash, but use it on Mo's if you want to. You can use this on any build and any character. If you are getting kills with this thing, you will get that frontward facing shield and that amp damage. Now, speaking of amp damage, guys, this gun does not give you 250% amp damage. It gives you 250% gun damage. Just like Zane's Violent Momentum, just like the Consecutive Hits Anointment, if you guys want to optimize your damage with this, then don't use anointments like Consecutive Hits. Don't use weapon damage anointments. You guys are going to want to look out for maybe some sort of crit anointment like barrier crit and accuracy, for example, or bonus elements like next 2 magazines. Those are going to be the best anointments for optimizing this damage. That 250% amp, like I said, is gun damage. It will be additive with your other gun damage bonuses. So do not look for gun damage anointments. Diversify your bonuses. Definitely next 2 mags is probably one of the best ones in my opinion for just general use among any character. Sentinel Cryo for Zane. And next 2 mags for everyone else. Next, we are going to move on to the Web Slinger. A 10 out of 10. I'm just kidding. It's a 10 out of 10 in my heart because you can use this thing to climb walls. And it's super fun. Realistically, in terms of damage, I am actually impressed. They buffed the Web Slinger up to a 7.5. Now, I think this needs to be buffed much further. It feels just as strong as a Star Helix in terms of power, but it should feel much stronger than that. The Web Slinger is from the Guardian Takedown. It should easily be a 9 or a 10, but it just isn't. It is about a 7.5, which is an average assault rifle. Now, like I said, that does impress me because they did turn it into a good weapon from, you know, the pile of trash that it was before. Cough, cough. But but yeah, so I do think it needs to be buffed more because it is a Guardian takedown weapon, but for now we're just going to leave it down here at 7.5 out of 10. It is definitely on par with the Star Helix. Next, we are going to be talking about the Globetrotter, a COV rocket launcher. Now, personally, I don't know exactly where to rate this. I think we're going to drop it off at about 7.5 or 8. I think it's in between these two, so we're going to put it down here at 7.5. The damage on this thing is definitely not bad. You can even give it to Zane's clone so he can get some good use out of it. The thing about this gun is when I'm using it, personally, I feel like I am never killing enemies with it and I'm always killing myself. So you're definitely going to want to pair like a shock one with a transformer or a radiation one with a red suit. You can definitely get some good damage out of this thing. In terms of the buff to it today, I just didn't really feel much of a difference. Like, I guess maybe you can spam this thing a bit more. What they did to it was they made it so that the cooldown for the ammo, like you can get more shots out of it before it goes into overheat mode. And that wasn't like, you know, super significant in my opinion. I couldn't really feel the difference in the past when I was using it. So if you've tried this gun out before, it doesn't feel much different now. I'm sure you can get a couple more shots out of it. You can spam it a little bit better. But yeah, that's all we're really going to say about it. We're just going to leave it at 7.5 out of 10. Next, we have the Juliet's Dazzle. Now, this is a Mayhem 4 exclusive. I'm actually going to rate this an 8 out of 10. You can do some good things with this. This is a Mo's gun. Now, I actually think that this should get buffed a bit more. I feel like it's on the same power level as the Ogre, but it's a Mayhem 4 exclusive. It is locked behind difficulty. Personally, I think Mayhem 4 exclusives Mayhem 6 exclusives, Guardian Takedown, and Maliwan Takedown should all feel similar in terms of power. So the fact that the Juliet's Dazzle is one of those, and it is a Mayhem 4 exclusive, I should say, it should be stronger than an 8. I think it should be a 9. I do think it needs buffed a little bit more. Not much. It actually feels like it's in a pretty decent spot. And yeah, finally, we have the Good Juju. Now, the Good Juju has a gimmick to it. Basically, how this assault rifle works is every time you score a body shot, it stacks critical hit damage, kind of like an Anarchy in a way. And if you reload either manually or automatically, you lose your stacks. Now, it has another special effect where when you get a kill with the Good Juju, it automatically reloads. So it's super interesting. And the stacking mechanic of it is very clunky, though. I'm going to put it at a 7.5 out of 10. I think if you are playing Flak, you can make good use out of this weapon. I don't know if the base damage should get buffed more. I think at its best, it is on par with, I think it's an 8. Maybe it should get buffed a little bit more, to be honest, because it is a Mayhem 4 exclusive. But it just feels so clunky to use that I feel like maybe the payoff of it should be a little bit better. Like I said, on Flak, Flak has a pretty evened out damage formula, so you can probably do more with it on Flak. But unfortunately, it just felt very clunky and not the gun for me, in my opinion. But I did play with it kind of a lot today. I was really trying to make it work. And there you guys have it. In my opinion, the buffs from today were very, very good. I guess we should mention grenade buffs real quick. Grenades were only actually buffed by 30%, which a lot of you agree that that is not enough. I would be very happy to see some more grenade buffs. So I think we need to get some more grenade buffs so we can keep talking about that some more. Let me know what you guys have thought about these weapons. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. These are just my opinions and what I thought about these. So yeah, tell me in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are actually almost at 30K subscribers on the channel, so that is pretty crazy. If you're not subscribed, it would really help me out. And turn on that those post notifications so you can get notified when I upload. Otherwise, check me out at twitch.tv/thickfillet_. That is it for this video. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.